That means how strong is Rimuru Tempest? That's right. We got more AniNews content. This is part 3. I'm not sure if I should be watching it right now, even though the list says like the anime playlist, like AniNews playlist. There's like a clear order of the videos that I should be watching. But the people that's telling me on Discord, apparently I should be watching the adventure one first. But I'm like, fuck it. Let's just ball out. Part 3. How strong is Rimuru Tempest? The rest of his powers before becoming a demon lord.
The more I look into Rimuru's ever-expanding list of abilities, the more convinced I become that he's actually the strongest isekai protagonist.
Kazuma clears. Nope. Kazuma easy clear. Kazuma versus Rimuru Tempest. I don't give a fuck about your powers. Kazuma's got that SSSS tier luck.
Ever exist. I mean, we're not even at the point where he's become a demon lord yet, and still half his powers are already approaching the status of godlike. Especially some of the ones that we're going to be looking at next.
Okay.
So let's finish up this 3-part profile on Rimuru's power and take a look at the rest of his insane arsenal of skills before his evolution into a demon lord.
But first,
before I talk about Rimuru, there's another character who's just as OP that I
wait, not an ad? No, this is an ad. This is why is Sung Jinwoo? What time is this? Wait. This is an ad. 2 years ago, bro was dropping Sung Jinwoo content 2 years ago. What is this? Webtoon sponsor.
And that's because this video was sponsored by TappyToon.
Close enough. TappyToon. Webtoon. TappyToon. It's the same shit. You know what to do. Use this fucking discount code AniNews to get your first fucking... Hold up. Let's see this solo leveling ad read actually. Hold up. What is he gonna say? I'm actually interested because this is actually solo leveling. Hold up.
Place to do it. I mean, as someone who's been reading solo leveling since season 1, I can 100% confirm that if you like TENSURA, then you're gonna like this.
Yeah?
Not only are both main characters extremely overpowered, but there's also that recurring element of enemies underestimating our protagonist then proceeding to get stomped. Plus, with a world that carries quite a bit of depth to it, as well as a level of power scaling that has the potential to exceed even TENSURA's, this really is one of the best webcomics to get started with.
Why is the subtitles like this right now when he's talking? What the fuck is this? Is this a fucking ad read fucking subtitle? That's why it's just like saying this shit even though it's nothing towards what AniNews is saying?
So, if you're someone who's ever been interested, then go ahead and use the link in the description to start reading solo leveling.
I don't fucking know, bro.
Not only is TappyToon a great place to access—
Alright, whatever. Hey, yeah. Okay, TENSURA content. Okay, TENSURA, let's go.
Since we ended part 2 with the unique skill Degenerate, we can now look at the rest of the skills that Rimuru had gained from Ifrit. Remember, the first was the clone-making replication that we had talked about last video. A fairly straightforward ability that doesn't change much throughout the series.
Is that the same shit that Soe uses? I forget. He eats Ifrit and then it obviously becomes like Shadow Clone stuff. And then he has the ability to like provide and also take skills. Damn, Ifrit gave us the... I think I said the same shit last video too. I was like, what?
The other two though, well, these didn't last long in their original state due to the synthesis effects of Degenerate.
What do we make?
Less than a day had passed before these skills had merged and become something far more powerful. But before we can look at what they had become, we first need to understand what they were before. That way you'll have a better understanding of the foundations of these more evolved skills. So, with regards to combustion, this was a skill that turned the user's own body into flames. It would use the caster's personal corpus as a source for magical energy, then proceed to transform said energy into fire. Because the body was the fuel that brought these flames to life though, that meant that it couldn't be activated if the user possessed a physical body. It made it so that Rimuru's slime form was completely incapable of casting it.
You need a physical... Wait.
That brought these flames to life though. That meant that it couldn't be activated if the user possessed a physical body.
You need some kind of like, what? Astral body? Hold up, he says some kind of special word here. What word did he use?
Personal corpus as a source.
Personal corpus? What the... Did we miss a video? I swear to God, I've been paying attention. What the fuck is a personal corpus, dude? It's something that allows them to use combustion or intrinsic flame skills like this.
For magical energy, then proceed to transform said energy.
Go back. Say it again.
This was a skill that turned the user's own body into flames.
Yeah.
It would use the caster's personal corpus as a...
What the fuck is a personal corpus?
Source for magical energy, then proceed to transform said energy into fire.
Corpus to magical energy to fire. I'm following.
Because the body was the fuel that brought these flames to life though.
The body is the fuel that brought the flames to life. The corpus, whatever. We are basically... The fire only exists because we used our body to make that fire. Therefore, if you already have a physical body, you can't use it. I don't know.
Meant that it couldn't be activated if the user possessed a physical body. It made it so that Rimuru's slime form was completely incapable of casting it. What he needed instead was a different type of body that was either spiritual or magical in nature.
So this is a spiritual body, not a physical body, therefore he can use combustion.
Only then would he be able to supply the fuel that was necessary to support the skill's activation.
Because you need
So
a
when
body,
Rimuru had
corpus,
tested this,
corpus
he
fuel.
found that turning into Ifrit allowed combustion to feed off his spiritual energy. Everything
Okay.
except for his core became flames that exceeded temperatures of 1200 degrees Celsius.
No way!
The fact that his core didn't ignite, though, was an interesting side effect that indicated the possibility of partial combustion. You see, if Rimuru turned himself human, then
I don't remember this. Did he do this? Did he? He wanted to see what titties would look like when he swallowed up Shizu, right? That was season 1 content.
Rimuru turned himself
He was like, oh damn, I'm kind of hot. And then he was like, all right, let's go back to the male form, right?
human, then only made certain body parts magical in nature. Those specific parts would be the only areas capable of transforming into flames.
Okay.
It was a unique property that gave him immense control over an attack that could do quite a bit of significant damage.
And here we are as anime-only normies, just thinking that, oh, fire just happens because Rimuru sucked up Ifrit. Fire attack. But it's like, no. No, it only works because Rimuru has a special type of body, whether it be spiritual or whatever kind of different body, not a physical. And on top of that, it's partial transformations. As to why this works, no one would fucking have guessed this, but the amount of details right now, holy shit.
That said, there was one major downside to its usage,
Okay.
and that was the copious amounts of energy required to keep it going.
Mana
When
or
Rimuru was
energy?
experimenting,
Magicules?
he found that activating combustion without any sort of conservation mechanism would result in an almost immediate loss of all his magic. With
Really?
the skill constantly converting magicules in order to maintain its heat,
Even with all of Veldra's magicules, he couldn't do it?
that meant that a constant outflow of magical energy was needed from his body. It was a massive portion that he knew would deplete his entire supply in only a matter of seconds.
That's kind of crazy.
If there was a way to maintain that heat without magicules though, then that would allow the skill to stay active for significantly longer.
Why is the subtitles Vietnamese right now? Because it's Vietnam. Who picked this? Who? We're 3 minutes. We're 3 minutes into 4 minutes into the con. Why is the subs Vietnamese? What the? Thank you, Thor, for the gifted subs. I appreciate it, my man. But why? Who changed 5 gifted subs? Thank you so much. Why? What the fuck is going on with the subs? Let's change it. Jesus Christ. Why would I change it to Vietnamese? I don't speak Vietnamese. Why the? Can you change it to? Can I options, fonts, language? Do I not have an option? No, auto translate English. What are we fucking doing, bro? What the fuck are we doing? Holy shit. Holy shit. That's gotta be the fucking... This is one of the dumbest fucking moments that happened in the fucking stream, bro. Jesus Christ. Anyways, go back to it.
So this was where Ifrit's other skill came in. By using ranged barrier to lock that heat within what's essentially a closed system, Rimuru would only need enough magicules to activate combustion.
Okay.
Any additional magical energy would no longer be needed since the heat
It's like, instead of having like a hose that's constantly go. That's a bad example. Instead of the flame just constantly having to be more and more, we just fucking lock it in that flame. And then we don't have to give us so much of our energy to sustain that flame, right?
heat from the flames wouldn't be dissipating into the air anymore.
Okay.
It was a technique that pretty much defied the laws of thermodynamics.
Bro's just hotboxing. Instead of smoking a fucking joint outside in the park, bro just fucking smoke it in a park, in a car, and just hotboxing. So, you know, we don't have to keep it fucking... Anyways.
In any case, this was just the beginning of all the different uses Rimuru had come up with for this barrier skill. As an ability that allowed him to create any size or form of barrier within 100 meters of himself, the practical applications of it were almost endless, especially since he could use its energy conservation effects to combine it with a number of other skills.
Okay.
For example, if Rimuru was to shoot a projectile like Water Blade through his own barrier, the projectile would as a result get wrapped in its own mini barrier. Not only would this make the attack a lot more durable, but it would also travel a much further distance as well. If Rimuru was to combine it with something else like Ifrit's Flare Circle, then anything within the barrier would be instantly scorched to ashes. The oxygen would burn into nothing, and eventually this hellish prison would reach temperatures approaching that of the sun's.
That's crazy. So like, if the fucking... So, the barrier, you just touch it, and then everything else becomes enveloped in the barrier. Thank you again for all the gift to Substore, but I see that you have a hobby of, you know, coming into these AniNews slime reactions and gifting subs in order to make your name be heard. So I will be ignoring you now throughout the reactions. I might type your name and say thank you, but I'll hit you up after the reaction too.
To ashes. The oxygen would burn into nothing, and eventually...
Also, yeah, what the fuck are these subtitles? Like, what is... Why is it Vietnamese again? Vietnamese to English? What are we doing? What are we fucking doing right now? Why? Dude, this reaction is fucking cursed. One part of my brain is fucking trying to understand what the fuck is going on with AniNews. Another part of my brain is just seeing the fucking gifted sub go off, and I was just like, do I have to say thank you? What the fuck is going on? I'm trying to fucking lock in. The other part of me is trying to read the fucking subtitles, but this shit's just Vietnamese. What the f... Maybe we just turn the subtitles off for this one. I don't think that like we have an option for English subtitles. Like something got fucked up here. I can't. Right? There's no options. I can't do anything about this. Look. It's Vietnamese auto-generated. There's no English. What the fuck is this? Why are you fucking doing this? Jesus fucking Christ. And now the video's fucking gone. Where did my fucking video go? Here it is. Alright. We need to lock in. Thank you for the gift to sub. We need... This isn't even the fucking video I was watching! Holy shit.
The more I look into...
I'm ignoring everyone in chat right now and just locking in. This reaction is just going off the fucking charts right now. What are we doing? We're looking at the barrier, right? We're looking at the barrier. Fuck all your gifted subs. Thank you, though. Fuck all you guys. Fucking think subtitles bad. Fucking show me the fucking subtitles. Data qua tao tao sao dan ta ko dok bao. Listen, I got nothing against Vietnamese people, but like when I'm trying to fucking read and fucking stay locked in to deliver reaction content that you guys can enjoy, like it doesn't fucking help that this is Vietnamese to fucking English. What am I supposed to do? I can't do anything about this. This is bullshit. You know what? Vietnamese to English is the best you're gonna get. This is so bad. The translation is just so fucking bad, but we gotta work. You know what? Maybe we go back to the old one because this is even more cursed, right? Maybe we just stay with the fucking whatever.
Stay active for significantly longer. So this was where Ifrit's other skill came in.
Barrier.
By using ranged barrier to lock that heat within what's essentially a closed system, Rimuru would only need enough magicules to activate combustion.
I'm turning this shit off.
Any additional magical energy would no longer be needed since the heat from the flames wouldn't be dissipating into the air anymore. It was a technique that pretty much defied the laws of thermodynamics. In any case, this was just the beginning of all the different uses Rimuru had come up with for this barrier skill. As an ability that allowed him to create any size or form of barrier within 100 meters of himself, the practical applications of it were almost endless.
So like this whole barrier thing that we constantly use in Season 2, that was all from Ifrit, huh?
Especially since he could use its energy conservation effects to combine it with a number of other skills. For example, if Rimuru was to shoot a projectile like Water Blade through his own barrier, the projectile would as a result get wrapped in its own mini barrier.
Okay.
Not only would this make the attack a lot more durable, but it would also travel a much further distance as well. If Rimuru was to combine it with something else like Ifrit's Flare Circle, then anything within the barrier would be instantly scorched to ashes. The oxygen would burn into nothing, and eventually this hellish prison would reach temperatures approaching that of the sun's.
Basically, anytime we use something, we combine with the barrier, and it just kind of locks people in, and we can just fuck people fuck people up from within the barrier, right?
So, needless to say, ranged barrier was extremely useful for both defense and offense. But anyway, now that we know about the rest of the skills that Rimuru had gained from Ifrit, We can now continue with what they had become from Degenerate. Remember, Shizue's Degenerate brought with it a whole new frontier of possibilities in the form of synthesis.
Yes,
an effect
making
that
shit
allowed
up,
for the
crafting
merging of
stuff.
skills in a way that often evolved them or made them better. So, one of the first things that Rimuru had used this effect on was actually the other skill that he'd gained from Shizue.
Control. I thought that it just always fucking worked, but I guess like it's like some kind of like weapon mastery. Like you play a game, there's like these weapon mastery skills. Let's say it's like a fucking warrior. There's like this sword mastery, and the more you increase sword mastery, the better you have it. I don't fucking know.
What would happen if he used combustion to create the flames first, then tried to transfer control over to fire manipulation after?
I don't know.
Well, given that Great Sage was monitoring this thought process, the end result was an optimal combination of mimicry from Predator, combustion from Ifrit, and fire manipulation from Shizue.
And all together
all of
becomes
which had merged together to create the new extra skills,
Hellflame.
Dark Flame, and Molecular
Close.
Manipulation.
I don't know what the fuck molecular manipulation sounds insane, but Dark Flame is basically like, isn't that like the blue dark storm kind of flame that he uses?
Molecular Manipulation. So, in exchange for combustion, fire manipulation, and water manipulation, Rimuru had gained more evolved versions that could do pretty much the exact same thing, plus
It's like manipulating everything. Instead of just fire manipulation or water manipulation, you're manipulating the molecules itself, which seems more universal and fucking OP, right?
a whole lot more. Dark Flame created a field of magic in which high-intensity fire could be created from literally anywhere within it.
Okay.
So long as there was enough internal magic force being focused, the flame would manifest itself wherever Rimuru wanted. As for molecular manipulation, well, this was a little more complex to the point that even Rimuru didn't understand it. He did understand that it gave him the ability to control particles in the air, but he couldn't fully comprehend as to how he did it. From what Great Sage had mentioned, the process involved using the magicules around him to freely control the paths of other molecules. So,
can he just freely control atoms? Like if he has like molecular manipulation, it almost sounds like he can just like create a fucking nuclear bomb by himself.
this could be something as simple as creating friction to increase the temperature, or something as complex as colliding specific particles to create big explosions.
Nuclear fission, like straight up, could we not? Like it's straight up a bomb that he could do by manipulating the fucking atoms, right?
Regardless, it's best to think of it like a form of telekinesis that worked on any and all sorts of molecules.
So he has just control over everything.
That being the case, this would go on to serve as the basis for the evolution of Rimuru's Dark Lightning skill. By combining Dark Lightning with molecular manipulation, Rimuru was able to create the new extra skill Dark Thunder, an ability that granted access to the Dark Lightning type.
What's the difference between the lightning and thunder? I think that, fuck, I forget. It's about being able to hear something, right? Like if there's like, I don't know which one is which, but like one of them, either thunder or lightning, you can hear like the claps. Thunder clap, that's right, it's right. It's right. Thunder is the sound of light. Oh, what? Huh. So lightning is what we see from the skies, right? It's a fucking bob, right? But then the sound of that lightning is thunder. Thunderclap. We hear the word thunderclap often, right? That's the sound. You're like, right? That's basically that.
Skills, all without the need for a Tempest or Starwolf body. So, rather than having to transform in order to cast Dark Lightning like how he usually did, instead he could now use it in whatever form he wanted. Not only that, but he could also use magicules to freely adjust its size and force. Power over the elements that was damn near approaching the status of godlike.
This sounds like a literal god right now, but at this point, who the fuck knew in the watching the anime alone that Rimuru had control over the fucking molecules itself? And these details, do we really need to know to enjoy Tensura? No, but I feel like these kind of details, if you're like sweaty and you try to really get into it, I think you'll appreciate the content more because of all this background information. You don't need it to like understand, but just like knowing it maybe makes you appreciate it more.
Now, One last thing that Rimuru had gained from this first instance with Degenerate was an evolved version of Resist Temperature called Cancel Temperature. This practically nullified all negative effects from extreme temperatures at either ends of the spectrum.
Cancel temperature? You basically permanently room temperature state then.
Essentially making him immune to any sort of ice or fire-based
Cold
attacks.
and heat
If
doesn't
he was
matter.
to take this resistance then link it with his ranged barrier from Ifrit, then the barrier itself would also become immune to those attacks as well.
Dude, the way that the barrier is just like synchronizing with all these different magic is like might be the most busted thing. That's why I feel like in like isekai or just like in power fantasy shows, I think like barrier magic is one of the most OP flexible skills there is. Because a barrier, again, it acts as a defense, but it also can be used as an offense. And if you have this shit where you can literally fucking just like infuse stuff into the barrier, it becomes OP. Even that one anime, I forgot. It was a long time ago. The first episode isekai started off with the demon beast girl, you know, telling a baby, "Can I have your seed?" because she thought that he was a demon lord. I think that anime, I forget the fucking name, but it's heavily, am I actually the strongest? Didn't the kid have some sort of barrier magic as well? It was basically these like cubes, these like boxes. And these barrier magic, it can just do fucking anything. You're like, you know what? The barrier magic can act as a fucking surveillance camera. It can communicate. It's just fucking busted. That's why I think barrier magic is the most OP skill in isekai. Maybe not, but I think it's definitely up there.
Do this one more time for all his other resistances and the
You're not gonna lie, you dropped the manga, don't worry. I dropped the anime by episode 6 because that shit was so fucking trash. I don't know about the source material, but the anime adaptation, I've never seen an isekai where I felt like I didn't know if the anime was about to end or start. The pacing of it, the overall direction of the storytelling was just so fucking jarring. I was like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
end result is a multi-layer barrier that possesses the same resistances that he does. He couldn't apply more than one resistance to a single barrier, but he could create multiple different barriers each linked to their own resistance.
OP. Stack the
Thus why
barriers.
it's called a multi-layer barrier. So,
What? By putting extra layers of barrier outside the original barrier. It's a multi-layer barrier? This is a mind-blown moment, bro. No way, indeed.
So, in addition to absolute control over several elements and the molecules in the air, Rimuru had also gained a huge buff in his defenses that could be applied to literally anything, all of which had come from this single encounter with Shizue and Ifrit.
That's crazy. I thought that Ifrit, like the only thing like that we gained from Shizue and Ifrit was like the fucking mask and being able to turn into a humanoid. But like this this explanation from AniNews is making him seem like Shizue was just fucking fan service. She didn't really fucking matter. We'll just take her fucking body for plot reasons. And then Ifrit is just like the foundations of many skills that Rimuru uses, which is kind of crazy. Ifrit got done dirty in the anime. In the anime, what did they do? Ifrit got swallowed, and then Veldra bullied him by making him play like, what was it? Shogi? The Chinese chess? I don't know. Some kind of board game, right?
Now, I may be...
You're right. Degenerate is from Shizue. You're right. Synthesis, Degenerate, you're right. Those are OP, but like, I'm realizing how important Ifrit was too now.
Skipping a little bit ahead here, but there was one other resistance that Rimuru had gained, which was from the Orc Disaster Guild. A resistance to any and all attacks whose damage was based on rot or corrosion. The reason I'm saying this now is because this was yet another resistance that Rimuru liked to link with his barriers. It's an additional layer alongside the others for physical damage, temperature, and whatever else he has, each of which actually double his resistance effects when applied to him.
What?
Moving on, the next instance of Deviant's usage had come in the form of Universal Shapeshift.
Sounds like just transforming, right?
This was an extra skill that emerged when Predator's mimicry had combined with Deviant's synthesis and separation. As for what it did, well, it pretty much allowed Rimuru to become a chimera.
Oh! I was kind of confused about this. This is like awaken, he said awaken gluttony. And it does look like a chimera form, but it was basically the manifestations of all the different monsters that he has stored within while he split off from that body and then went into hiding. But AniNews is saying, what is it?
Synthesis and separation. As for what it did, well, it pretty much allowed Rimuru to become a chimera.
Universal
Rather
shapeshift.
than have to fully transform into another monster in order to use their skills, instead he could now just use universal shapeshift to do partial transformations.
Ah, that's what that was. I mean, yeah, right, because he just like pops out the right over here, iron hands, right, not the entire body, partial transformation.
Any part of any monster could be replicated in a way that made pretty much every ability accessible. So this was a skill that granted a lot more flexibility when it came to combat.
Why did it say awaken gluttony? What was that about? It was a name technique. Awaken gluttony. What was that? Because like, shouldn't he have said universal shapeshift, form, chimera? But he was like, awaken gluttony. Yeah, was he just being chuny? Just wanted to say a name technique because Hinata had so many fucking name techniques like Dead and the Rainbow, Disintegrate, fucking more fucking, I don't know, arts with the fucking talismans and shit, summoning spirits.
Granted a lot more flexibility when it came to combat. Something that was a little more focused around utility was the evolution of his ultrasonic wave skill. Remember, this was initially only used as a means to detect enemies and act as his voice. But it was after its enhancement into Sense Soundwave that this new skill had become something that could detect so much more.
Like?
Whether it be the sounds and movements of those around him, or even the smells and temperatures of the local area, literally everything was now being picked up by him.
Except Hinata creeping up on us. Well, right over, he kind of already did.
It was a whole new world of information in which anything related to the nearby magic
his senses got enhanced
perceived by him. After this, the next set of skills that Rimuru had gained had come from the defeat of Charybdis.
That's probably how you actually say it too, right? Charybdis. I just say it the way that the Japanese voice actors say. Charybdis. Where does the fucking R coming from? There's a D in there. Charybdis. This is actually probably right. But if you were to like say Charybdis, because Medium says Charybdis. Almost as if there's a fucking R in there instead of the D. I always go with the Japanese voice actor pronunciation, even if it's like not the correct one. I don't know. Even like Freshest Anime Joe, apparently he was getting shit on by Spice and Wolf fans because he was calling Horo hollow, because like a H-O-L-O, hollow. Like, what do you call Hollow Live or Horo Live? Actually, the Japanese probably do call it Horo Live. Fuck. Anyways, my point stands. You go with the Japanese fucking pronunciation.
It was a duo of skills in the form of gravity control and magic jamming, as well as a new resistance against any and all types of magic attacks. As you'd expect from a skill called magic jamming, this pretty much interfered with the natural properties of any magicals within 1,000 foot radius, not only making it extremely difficult to cast any sort of magic, but also completely nullifying the ability to use flight-based magic.
Flight-based magic. I'd like to know more about that, because I don't really know what it is, other than you just fly, but there must be like a huge set of rules and how Mao Medium just kind of just like flies and hovers here.
It wasn't as if magic was impossible to use here, but the chaotic state of the magicules made it very difficult to manipulate. So any person who wasn't extremely proficient in their ability to manipulate magicules would find themselves struggling to cast even the most basic of spells. Then combine this with a multi-layer barrier linked to magic resist, and you pretty much have a recipe for complete magical immunity. Switching over to control gravity now.
So basically that was just all about the senses and then resistances and him just being fucking OP in defense. And then what is it next?
Over to control gravity now.
Control gravity.
This is the skill that allows Rimuru to float.
Oh, this is flight magic. Flight magic is just control gravity? I guess that makes sense. You just counteract the gravity force weighing down on you, so you can just kind of just whoop.
Yes, he does have physical wings, which makes flying just as easy, but control gravity bends the very laws of physics to the person using it. It's an extra skill that enables flight without the need for wings or magicules.
I'm surprised that no one has ever even tried to use control gravity onto someone else. Like, one of the most OP applications of gravity magic is to literally just point it, and then that person's like, ooh, and you can see like fucking gravity animation through the impact frames, right? So it's like, I don't know. Has he ever done that? Maybe you can't do that. Maybe it'd be too OP. I don't know.
I'm sure there's quite a few more uses for it than just that, but it's not really something that Rimuru has personally looked into. Now, the last two abilities that Rimuru...
Personally, I think that gravity magic is just so fucking OP that maybe the author was like, maybe we don't do it. maybe we just kind of just ignore it for now. Then again, the most like common way to counter the gravity magic is just by sometimes just like brute force, they just fucking get up. Or the users stop using it, or they get knocked out.
Rimuru had come across before becoming a Demon Lord was actually a new magic and skill that he'd gained from his adventurer test in Blumend.
What the fuck was this? Is this a light? Is this side stories? This is not Slime Diaries, right? We went to Burumund. It is probably Blumend, right? It's cut content. It's an adventure arc. When does this happen? He still has, well, he has the human form. So after Shizu. Between season 1 season 2, maybe? I don't know. Season
if
1?
You don't remember when this was, well, that's because it was never shown in the anime.
All my questions can be answered if I just play the video more. But that defeats the purpose of a reaction. Trying to fucking be sweaty, trying to guess stuff.
The time when Rimuru had officially become an adventurer was completely bypassed. Fortunately, I do have
Wait, what is it? What do you say?
This was, well, that's because it was never shown in the anime.
Yeah? And then he got a joke here. He got a joke here.
The time when Rimuru had officially become an adventurer was completely bypassed.
That time I became that time I got reincarnated as a slime, and the adventure I went on got bypassed.
Fortunately, I do have a couple videos going over what we missed.
Okay.
So if you want to...
Hinata was involved in that? Yeah, apparently I should have watched Rimuru's adventure first before this video, but I got impatient. I was like, fuck it, why is this video here? So I guess the cut content covers the Burumund the adventure, as well as something to do with Hinata, the Crusaders.
Going over what we missed. So if you want to see what those last abilities are, as well as how he got them, then I highly recommend giving those 2 videos a watch.
We'll watch them,
There's plenty of other interesting information to be found there as well. But anyway, I think that's pretty much everything regarding Rimuru's power.
Alright.
Well, before his evolution to a Demon Lord anyway.
That's gonna have its own separate video, right?
The next set of videos will start to cover the even more complex skills he gained as a Demon Lord.
We thought it was over. No, it's gonna get even more complex because this was just a fucking tutorial phase. Now we have to see what skills he gets after True Demon Lord. How strong is Rimuru Tempest after becoming a true Demon Lord?
Plus a few other miscellaneous ones that sounded pretty interesting from the comments.
Alright.
Until then though, be sure to check out my other videos and leave...
Oh, don't worry, I will. You guys know what to do. Go to Mr. AniNews' channel. Like his videos. Subscribe to him if you haven't already. Gives us good breakdowns of what's going on. Today's video... Sorry, I started to get fucking so distracted with the fucking Vietnamese sub debacle of what the fuck was going on. But a lot of the stuff was highlighting stuff that we learned by absorbing Ifrits. The barrier was OP. Being able to like manipulate molecules at a certain point by combining all the different shit was fucking OP. As well as the stuff near the end where we started to talk about more of like the resistances, as well as some stuff that apparently has been cut out. So again, that's gonna be handled in a separate video, and don't worry, I will watch every one of these videos. Like, don't get guys. If you just go look at, like, what do you think a YouTuber wants? A YouTuber just wants the fucking views, right? And you see how well these reactions are doing. Do you think that it's not in my best interest to react to every one of them? Of course I will, but on a weekly basis, because on Tuesdays when we have less videos to watch and where our editor Sir Gregor is taking a little bit of a rest, this is when we take our time to farm this kind of content. Also, if there's more Tensura content, because AniNews is not the only one doing Tensura, right? I think there's some other channels like Anime Room Pie, but they tend to include light novel spoiler content. That's why I kind of try to stay away from that kind of stuff. But if you guys can find me specifically anime only Tensura content, I'd be willing to watch them.